Picture this. You are standing at the bottom of a concrete elevator shaft somewhere beneath the wheat fields of eastern Montana. Above you, 60 feet of reinforced earth and steel-plated blast doors separate you from the surface. Below the silo cap, the launch control facility you are standing in is roughly the size of a city bus. Suspended on enormous shock absorbers the diameter of oil drums, hanging from cables so that a near-nuclear detonation will rock the capsule rather than crush it. 2 officers are in there right now. They have been in there for 24 hours. They will be in there for another 24 before relief arrives. And between those 2 people, they hold authenticated launch authority over 10 Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missiles, each carrying a warhead with a yield somewhere between 300 and 475 kilotons. So the question is, how does anyone actually function in that environment? How do 2 people share a steel capsule underground for days at a stretch? Maintain the psychological composure that the most consequential job in military history demands. Still get enough sleep to be trusted with that kind of authority? That is precisely what this investigation will uncover. The facilities we are talking about are very specific. We are not talking about a command bunker or a hardened headquarters full of staff officers and communications equipment. We are talking about a launch control center, what the Air Force calls an LCC, the buried nerve capsule that sits at the center of a missile alert facility, or MAF, connected underground to 10 individual launch facilities spread across an area of roughly 200 square miles of Great Plains countryside. There are 45 of these alert facilities still operational across 3 wings of the Air Force Global Strike Command: the 90th Missile Wing at Warren in Wyoming, the 341st at Malmstrom in Montana, the 91st at Minot in North Dakota. Each wing controls 150 missiles. Together, they cover a combined land area larger than the state of Connecticut. And inside each one of those buried capsules, around the clock, 365 days a year, 2 missile combat crew members are on alert. Start with the fundamentals because they reveal what makes this situation so extraordinary. The launch control capsule itself is a cylinder, approximately 28 feet long and 11 feet in diameter, suspended inside a larger outer silo on a system of shock-isolating cables and pneumatic shock absorbers engineered to allow the capsule to move several feet in any direction without losing structural integrity during a nearby nuclear detonation. The walls are hardened concrete with steel reinforcement rated to withstand an overpressure of roughly 100 pounds per square inch. That corresponds to a nuclear detonation at a distance of about a mile or 2 depending on yield. The interior floor space is roughly equivalent to a large van. 2 launch control consoles occupy one end. The small rest area occupies the other. That is the entirety of the working and living environment for a 24-hour alert tour. Now, here is the part that surprises most people when they first look at this seriously. The access to that capsule is not a simple door. A crew arriving for alert drives to the alert facility, passes through the security checkpoint staffed by a Missile Security Forces team, descends a stairwell to a blast door rated at roughly 30 tons, passes through that door, then takes a small elevator down the remaining depth to a second blast door that opens into the capsule itself. The 2 incoming crew members, known as the crew commander and the deputy crew commander, relieve the 2 outgoing crew after a formal handoff procedure that includes verification of classified materials, authentication codes, the status of all 10 missiles in the flight. That handoff is not informal. It is a documented transfer of nuclear responsibility between 4 officers, 2 going off and 2 coming on. Let us look at what the capsule actually contains, because the spatial reality of the place is important. Along the main console wall sit the 2 crew positions, each with a launch control panel, communications equipment, the systems used to monitor missile status across the flight. The panels include the famous key switches, the 2 of which must be turned simultaneously within a 2-second window by 2 separate people physically unable to reach each other's switch at the same time. A design requirement that ensures no single person can ever initiate a launch alone. Behind the console positions, separated by only a few feet, is what the Air Force calls the rest area. That is a generous term for a cot, a small food storage unit, a compact lavatory partitioned off at the far end. The cot is a standard military folding design approximately 75 inches long. There is no bunk system because there is only room for 1 person to sleep at a time. The 2 crew members alternate rest periods across the 24-hour tour. What strikes me as particularly fascinating, and this is where the engineering intersects with human reality, is that the capsule design is one thing, but the human reality of sleeping in it is something else entirely. A crew member going down for a rest period in that capsule is attempting to sleep inside a steel cylinder that is vibrating faintly with the hum of its own environmental control systems. Lit by fluorescent lighting that never fully dims, separated from a colleague who is actively working the console a matter of feet away, sitting 60 feet below a reinforced concrete cap with no windows, no natural light, no way of knowing whether it is 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning without checking a clock. The acoustic environment is a constant low-frequency mechanical hum from the HVAC system, the power conditioning units, and the communications equipment. How does sleep actually happen under those conditions? The answer, according to accounts from former missile combat crew members and the research that has been done on capsule duty, is that it mostly happens through sheer exhaustion and learned adaptation. Crew members typically arrive at the capsule having already worked a preparation day involving weapons system briefings, classified message review, equipment checks at the missile wing. By the time they descend to the capsule and complete the changeover, they have frequently been awake for 6 to 8 hours before the 24-hour alert even begins. The body's accumulated fatigue does a great deal of the work that the sleeping environment cannot. Former crew members at Malmstrom and Minute have described a pattern that settles in after the first few alert tours, where the body simply learns to accept the hum and the fluorescence as the normal conditions of rest, much the way a sailor learns to sleep through a ship's engine vibration within a few weeks of going to sea. The watch arrangement inside the capsule is not formally codified in the same way a maritime 4-on-8-off rotation is. The 2 crew members negotiate rest breaks between themselves within certain operational requirements. One person must be awake and at the console at all times. Standard practice across the wings has typically involved one crew member resting for a block of 3 to 4 hours while the other manages the console, then rotating. The operational reality is that the crew is there to respond to orders. Response capability must be maintained regardless of what time of day it happens to be. And then there is the food situation, which is its own category of interest. Each crew descends with what the Air Force calls alert rations, a combination of packaged and prepared food sufficient for the 24-hour period. Former crew members are consistent in describing coffee as genuinely central to capsule life in a way that goes beyond simple caffeine dependence. The coffee maker runs more or less continuously across a long alert tour. Crew members who have written about their time on alert at Warren, Malmstrom, Minot are unanimous on this point. The food is functional, not particularly varied, eaten at the console or at the small table beside the rest area. Meals happen when there is a lull in activity and when the person who is awake has the appetite to eat. Let us look at the communications environment. This is one of the most significant factors shaping what alert duty actually feels like day to day. A launch control capsule is not isolated from the outside world in the way that it might appear from the outside. The facility maintains continuous communication links upward through the command authority chain, through an airborne launch control system, through ground-based communications networks, through hardened cable links to the other LCCs in the wing. The crew is in regular contact with the wing's command post above ground. Status reports go up on schedule. Messages come down through the emergency action message system. When a senior alert facility comes on the radio for a communications check, both crew members respond on schedule. The communications requirement is constant and structured across the entire alert tour. This is genuinely not a quiet posting. Now, the personal equipment that crew members bring down into the capsule has evolved considerably since the Minuteman system reached full operational capability in the 1960s. In the early years of the program, the capsule environment was deliberately austere. There was a belief in some parts of the Air Force's missile community that comfort would compromise vigilance. By the 1980s and 1990s, as the operational culture matured and crew retention became a significant concern for all 3 wings, the unofficial tolerance for personal comfort items in the capsule expanded considerably. Former crew members describe bringing paperback books, portable cassette players, eventually portable DVD players for the rest periods. But the operational reality was that a crew member unable to rest adequately during their off time was a less effective operator during their on time. Today, crew members going on alert routinely bring tablets loaded with downloaded content, personal headphones, and reading material. The most consistent description from current and recent former crew members is that the rest period in the capsule feels most like the experience of trying to sleep in a commercial aircraft with the lights on. There is a physical fitness dimension to this that is worth understanding carefully. Missile combat crew members are required to maintain Air Force physical fitness standards throughout their service. That means regular PT is part of their working life. The alert facility above the capsule has a small gymnasium in the above-ground support building, where off-going and incoming crews can use equipment before and after alert tours. The capsule itself offers essentially no room for physical activity beyond standing and stretching. The capsule is not built for movement. It is built for two people to sit at consoles and respond. The psychological dimension of capsule duty has received significantly more formal attention in the last 20 years than it did in the program's early decades. The work of researchers examining missile crew performance, including studies commissioned by Air Force Global Strike Command following a series of inspection failures and morale incidents between 2007 and 2014, found consistently that the combination of extreme responsibility, physical confinement, isolation from natural light and environmental cues, the monotony of alert tours in which nothing operationally significant ever actually happens was producing measurable stress and performance degradation in some portions of the crew force. A 2014 investigation by the Associated Press documented widespread problems with crew morale and performance standards across all three wings. The Air Force's subsequent investment in the capsule environment, crew scheduling, post-alert recovery time was a direct response to that research. Let us be completely straight about what that record tells us. The picture is not one of uniform resilience. The Minuteman system was designed in the late 1950s and early 1960s around a deterrence logic that assumed the crews would never actually be called upon to launch. The entire operational design is built around waiting. A crew goes on alert, maintains readiness, responds to communications checks and maintenance requirements. At the end of 24 hours, comes back up to the surface. Across a full year of alert tours, a typical missile combat crew member will spend somewhere between 60 and 80 days underground. They will eat perhaps 130 to 160 meals in the capsule. They will sleep somewhere between 120 and 160 rest periods in that cot behind the console. The cumulative effect of that schedule on people's relationship with sleep, with natural light, with normal social rhythms is documented in crew welfare research and in the accounts of former crew members who have written about the assignment. The personal rituals that crew members develop to manage the capsule environment are strikingly consistent across wings and across decades. Almost every experienced crew member carries a specific brand of coffee into the capsule with them. The coffee from the wing's alert facility kitchen is available, but the personal coffee brought from home serves the same function as the sealed tin of instant that every experienced chief officer carries aboard a container ship. It is familiar. It is yours. It tastes the way coffee is supposed to taste. That matters in an environment where almost nothing else is familiar. The photographs taped to the inside of the small locker above the rest cot are the other universal. Former crew members at all three wings describe the same thing. A photograph of a spouse or partner. A photograph of children if there are children. The same objects appear in ship cabins on every commercial vessel on the planet. There is a calendar dimension to capsule service that parallels what seafarers describe in long contracts. Missile crew members count their alert tours the way sailors count their crossing off of days. A typical crew member will pull somewhere between 8 and 12 alert tours in a given month depending on staffing levels and the wing's operational tempo. The number of tours remaining in an assignment period becomes a significant mental accounting exercise. Former crew members describe a version of the same psychology that experienced chief mates describe at sea. You get through this tour, come back to the surface, sleep in a real bed, then you turn around and go back down again. The above-ground portion of the alert facility is worth understanding because it shapes the experience of capsule duty in ways that are easy to underestimate. Each MAF includes a topside building with crew quarters for the incoming and outgoing teams, a kitchen, a television room. The security forces team's facilities. Crew members typically arrive the evening before an alert tour begins, sleep topside, brief in the morning, and then descend. It is a standard government facility on a remote piece of Great Plains real estate, but it has windows. It has natural light. The sky outside changes from morning to afternoon to evening in ways the capsule never will. Former crew members are consistent in describing the moment of coming back up the elevator shaft after 24 hours underground as one of the most reliably good moments of the assignment, regardless of whether anything significant happened on alert. The light is the thing people mention most consistently. The crew force that manages this system today is considerably smaller than the one that operated it at the Cold War's peak. At the height of Minuteman deployment in the early 1970s, the Air Force operated 1,000 Minuteman missiles across 6 wings. Today, the force stands at 400 missiles across 3 wings, with a combined active missile crew force of several hundred officers organized into crews and flight commanders and squadron operations teams. The Air Force began the process of replacing the Minuteman III with the Sentinel ICBM in 2020, a program that will eventually replace both the missiles and the Capsule infrastructure entirely with a modernized ground system. The new Capsule design includes improvements to crew habitability that reflect 40 years of accumulated knowledge about what extended underground alert duty actually does to the people performing it. Whether the fundamental experience of sitting 60 feet underground with launch authority and a cot and a coffee maker changes substantially remains to be seen. But the engineers who designed the Sentinel's crew module were at least working from a much more complete picture of the human factors involved than the people who built the original Minuteman capsules ever had.